Boy, it sure looks different sitting here than it does back there. It's different. It really is. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Toledo this Sunday, August 10th, 2025. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Me, just me. Long time, no see. Good morning.
Good morning.
Love it. My name is Walter Leland McGhee. My relatives often call me Lily Boy. Born in the Richmond, Virginia hospital, a first for my family, on November 9, 1939. An only child who survived in a series of 5 stillborns. I guess I was lucky. I grew up in Coal Harbor, Virginia, on a truck farm, which meant we raised crops that went to market, leaving home at 3 a.m. in the morning to arrive at the farmer's market. There we would sell out by 6 a.m., and Richmonders would be eating those fruits and vegetables that very day from their favorite grocery stores and for the more wealthier in their restaurants. Leland was a 4-H'er who grew weird stuff which always sold. Example, ornamental gourds. You can't eat them. They're poisonous, right? But we got them in grocery stores. We also had them in hardware and Woolworths. How about that for a name you haven't heard in a while? W.T. Grant and G.C. Murphy's. Grandma's ancestral home was used as a hospital during the Civil War, 7 days battle for Richmond, and now is owned by the National Park Service, and this is what it looks like. And it's a memorial to those who died in the Civil War. That's our old homestead there. That's Granny's real house. Anyway, my father owned a country general store in addition to farming and later fixing vehicles. In his later years, he sold the store, ran a Coca-Cola bottling plant, and was the go-to guy for the Crass family, a wealthy Virginia owner of plantations along the James River. We drove horse and wagon to market, then a Model A, and then a Model T with wooden bodies. There was a steel frame that the motor and all that sat on, but the bodies we put together where the actual part of the pickup was used. Anyway, and later we drove Packard cars belonging to the Crass family, but we were mostly a Ford family. At 15, I got a job as the midnight weekend DJ for the #1 Richmond radio station. Call letters were W. Lee, and we had called it Wee on Lee. Anyway, had a good time doing that. At 17 and a half, I would become the first of our family to join the military. First the National Guard, then 101st Airborne in the Army as a medic. I share that with Joe. I trained them. I didn't go get shot at like Joe did. But anyway, then I got into the Navy Reserve, and in 1993, I retired as an officer, grade 5 naval commander after 32 years in the military. They couldn't get rid of me. Lots of active duty, but those stories I will reserve for another time. In civilian life, we built educational TV stations, later to become PBS and NPR. I was in the business when Fred Rogers, you know him as Mr. Rogers, and the Sesame Street gang were doing their thing. 1959, off to college, a division of William & Mary named Richmond Professional Institute, where I did mostly theatrical stage work and studied broadcasting. Today, that school is Virginia Commonwealth University. It is the largest university in the state of Virginia. And I met my partner, Jujubee. And here's Jujubee.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, sister and fellow Unitarians, explorers, and visitors. I am Jujubee, and I'm more formally known as Julia Ann Field McGhee, a member of this church, First Unitarian, 2005. So who is this Jujubee? Okay. I met her many years ago in Richmond, Virginia's 1940s, when Mr. Berg, a neighbor and the father of my friend Tricia, gave me this nickname. The Bergs lived up the block 2 houses from my Field grandparents, with whom my parents, my brother, and I lived as a result of the crunch of World War II. Today, I suppose I can claim her as my inner child who lived on Riverside Drive. Truth to tell, she still lives right here. Like those here at church today and those folks tuning in on YouTube, I have lots of stories in me. Like I was raised in a loving Methodist home, true story. But never fear, I promise to keep this short. And so here are just a few personal stories. My father, Owen, was an engineer with the Chesapeake and Potomac Telephone Company, part of the AT&T Bell companies. And he was eventually transferred away from Riverside when I was 6 years old and my brother Skip was 15. It was the first of many moves to various rental properties with limited bedrooms in Fredericksburg, Falls Church, Fairfax, Norfolk, and finally in the beautiful foothills of the Blue Ridge, Culpeper, Virginia. Anybody in here ever heard of Culpeper? Good. I loved it. I went to high school there, but that's all another story. Over the years, with you, the marriage grew into an alcoholic partnership. And my dad and my mother, the housewife, a classic enabler. Many years later, after my parents moved back to Richmond, and before my mother died from lung cancer, from those old Pall Malls, my alcoholic got sober. In his sobriety, I built a strong relationship, which even survived my stepmother. Several years later, after Walter and I had moved to Toledo, my dad made his transition on August 7th, 1987. The Toledo Zoo parking lot was the setting for a heart attack, which found the kids, my kids Martha and Daryl, screaming out in fear, and my stopping the car out on the Anthony Wayne Trail and flagging down a policeman in 5 o'clock traffic. This was followed by more time at MCO, where Owen had to leave the party a few hours later. Had to leave the party. I have to tell you, in spite of all the dysfunction, and I suspect some of you can identify with this, I loved my parents. And the dad that I got to know after I got sober, what a blessing it was. Even if he was still a Methodist, and I was. I will also share, some of you also know that I have, and which includes more of my stories, like the one about our, let me get the words right, the ones about Ohio, back to Virginia, challenging my father-in-law's will. Papa married his nurse, who proceeded to drain all family out of his will, except her, of course. Possible to win an undue influence case, the judge stated. Well, impossible, yes, but not to me during that period, because I had done some paralegal study stuff. And I put all my paralegal and intellectual heft into that case. And I put a lot of heart into it too. It was quite a story. And guess what? We did win the case. You don't have to, if the book ever comes out, now you know you don't have to wait for the ending. Yes, we won the case. And in fact, the jury asked the judge if they could charge her with murder. Couldn't, but maybe should have been. So, dear friends, that's one of our dramas. Some of you know about it and some of you don't, but I'm telling you, it was quite a time. Now let me turn the page. Oh, here is one more tale, which that man over there has given me permission and okay to tell this story. Probably when I was a teenager, my mother, who was Martha, her name was Martha, had some sage advice for her daughter. Owen was an only child. That's my dad. So is Walter. Can you imagine the setup that advice prepared me for? Yes, Walter, you are an only spoiled, rotten only child, and I love you. Okay. I want to close with my gratitude to members of First Unitarian who've supported Julia's Jujubee and Walter's Lily Boy, a fairly recent signer of the membership book, by the way. You have sent cards and words of comfort as better health and healing are slowly coming from OT and PT, and dialysis, and a brace for that darned antibiotic cement spacer called the left knee. At this point, I encourage you to enjoy the rest of the service and the afternoon to come.
Today, a journey. By now, you know this is going to be a very different approach to the service. It's my story. No, it's our story. Julia Ann Field McGhee and Walter Leland McGhee. And it is to some degree your story as well. Because you have contributed more than you may think to the living of our tale. Joining us for the journey today, Jeffrey Maxey is mastering the ivories. Good old Jeffrey. And he's also added, I'm technical, so I got to tell you this. Today we're wearing lavalier microphones. Notice nothing on the ears falling off, thanks to Jeffrey. And Jeannie Gottman will tell today's uniquely titled story. And if you pull out this thing and look down to where it says story, you can see the title. I read this and I went, is that you can believe anything you want, but you can't believe anything you want? Well, we'll find out when Ginny tells us a story today, right? Right. So, and the tech crew, those folks with the cameras, led by Andy Gottman as director. Andy, put yourself up on screen there. There they are, Andy. And we have, who is that other guy? That's Jeff Slauson, that's right. Controlling the cameras. He's getting the shots set for Andy. And we have David Strickler and Zach. Oh, we have Zach. Zach is there. What happened to David? David's in the pew back there. Hi, David. We have Zach Miller, new guy, who's at the I Can't Hear You audio board. And he's a new techie in our midst, so please welcome Zach. There we go. There are greeters in the lobby, helpers for today's religious education activities, and we have the coffee hour kitchen crew led by ever-present Carla Logan Mercer. Volunteers, one and all. I am proud to say the only doctrine of our church is love. Love is at the center of our shared values. And everyone is welcome to this church. Visitors, please fill out a yellow card. It's in the pew rack right in front of you. It lets us know that we have seekers here. And those of you on our Toledo Unitarians YouTube channel, thank you for streaming on your cell phone, on your laptops, and on your television. We really appreciate that. We hope this time serves your spirit.
And let me add to our welcome. Today, let's take our time to savor the meaning of the words as we say in unison our various responses. The flame of the chalice that we light in our services, and I've told Tara, I said, it's okay, you can cross in front of me while I'm talking. The flame of the chalice that we light in our services symbolizes courage and illumination and honors our search for truth and meaning. Let's all say the words for chalice lighting together. They're on the screen and in our order of service as Terry McCauley.
Our chalice
Whoops, wait a minute, Wally.
Don't do it, okay.
Lights the flame, I ain't finished yet.
Oh, sorry.
You can see that we are been married 62 years, and I'm not afraid of saying
Yes,
okay.
dear.
Yes, dear. Okay, Terry, have you done it? Do it, honey.
Okay, here we go.
Our chalice has the spirit of Unitarian Universalism. We light it centered in love. May it glow with sacredness and shine for each and for all. Now let's continue reciting together the covenant of our congregation. This is not a creed. Any visitors here, just we'll let you know it's not a creed, but we share with general agreement. Again, let us savor the meaning as we take our time and read this in unison. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Part of our journey, our story, has been influenced by John Lewis, who represented Georgia's 5th Congressional District, which included much of Atlanta. I turned to Heather Cox Richardson, researcher, writer, and a professor of American history at Boston College. In Letters from an American, a nightly newsletter, Richardson recently wrote, quote,
New black voters helped to elect John Lewis to Congress in 1986. He held the seat from then until his death in 2020. Winning re-election 16 times. Before Representative Lewis died, reporter Jonathan Capehart asked him what he would say to people who feel as though they have already been giving their all, but nothing seems to change.
Lewis answered, "You must be able and prepared to give until you cannot give anymore. We must use our time and our space on this little planet that we call Earth to make a lasting contribution, to leave it a little better than we found it. And now that need is greater than ever before. Do not get lost in a sea of despair, Lewis tweeted almost a year before his death. Do not become bitter or hostile. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. This one I want you to read on the screen with me. We will find a way to make a way out of no way. Let that sink in for a second. Put it back up on the screen, Andy. We will find a way to make a way out of no way. Lord, does that apply now? Wow. Unquote.
Oh, I'm looking.
Your turn, Julia.
I know it is, but I think
You're on, babe. Go.
Yeah, did you? I found my place. First Unitarian is a place of welcome, of grace, even of refuge from hard times. We can help one another, care for ourselves, and have our part in changing the world, and we can all make good trouble. Can you say it? Good trouble. Please share mercy and dignity, and remember to breathe. One reason we join in religious gatherings is to realize common links. The uncommon is here too. Let's be together in faith, hope, and love. Amen. Now please join in our opening hymn, number 16. 'Tis a gift to be simple. For you who are willing and able, please stand.
Thank you. You may be seated. Jenny, did we leave you enough space up here to work? Great. Thank you. Okay, on the screen, you'll see this title of the story today. Andy, put that back up for a second, if you don't mind. You can believe whatever you want, but you can't believe whatever you want. Huh? Jenny, all yours.
All right, here we go. If any children would like to join me up here on the podium, you are welcome to do so. Good morning. It's so nice to see you today. So, Susie, have you ever heard anyone say, "Oh, Unitarian Universalism, that's so easy. You can believe whatever you want"? Have you ever heard that? No? You probably will before too long. People like to say that, and it kind of makes our religion sound like there's nothing to it. You know, we just come together and hang out and have coffee and we're done. Good job, us. And that is, of course, not all that our religion is. So what does it mean when people say you can believe whatever you want? It means we don't pretend to have any answers that we don't have. Some things in the world are just unknowable. Is there a God? What happens when we die? Do we have souls? How was the universe created? We just don't know a lot about those things. And that's because no one can really know them for sure. We certainly talk about them because people love to talk about difficult questions and try to find the answers. But we don't think that we're right, and we don't tell other people what to believe. Some of us here in this room believe in God. Some of us here in this room do not. Some of us would say, I have no idea, and I really don't think it matters all that much. When it comes to those unknowable answers, Unitarian Universalists believe what feels right to us, what science tells us, maybe something that we have personally experienced, and all of that is fine. And we're not going to tell anyone else, you are wrong. You are wrong about God, and I am right because I know. That is not our style. So, what do we believe? What do we all have in common? We believe that it is our job to make the world that we live in more fair, more kind, cleaner, safer, happier. If we want to be good people and good Unitarian Universalists, that is the work that we have to do. We can't just say, it's not my job to fight against inequality. That's not my problem. I didn't start slavery. It's not my job to fight poverty. We are UUs, and we all believe that fighting inequality and injustice is our personal responsibility. Everything that we do in love. So who remembers our UU values? Anybody feel like a jet pig quiz? Let's do it. J4, E4, T4. These are getting quieter and quieter. P is for? Yes. I is for? And G is for? And all things are centered in love. All that we do in love. Radical love. Those are the things we believe. And living our Unitarian Universalist values can be hard. How can we radically love someone who is mean? How can we radically love someone who is hurting other people? That is a hard question. Is it a thing that's unknowable? It's possible. We might not be able to figure it out, but we can certainly talk about it. Maybe we can disagree with or fight against the things that person is doing, fight against those things as hard as we can, and at the same time, we can treat that person like a human being, just like us, who has a family and who has times that they are scared and times that they are profoundly generous. Maybe we can work on our own hearts and say, there's a lot of anger in the world, but I am not going to act in anger. I am going to act in kindness. Maybe that's what radical love means to you. Maybe you have different ideas. Maybe you believe that we will all meet one day in heaven and we can get right with each other then. You can believe that because, you can believe whatever you want.
We have a piece of Robert Reich's works. Maybe some of you see it online. And Walter has put this in today's service because anybody else in here see what he's writing? And when he on Stephen Colbert the other night. I think he was. Okay. We're living in an age, he says, an age of bullies. Those with power.
Julia?
Yes.
Jeffrey needs to play the Summer Breeze, honey.
Okay.
See the curtain hanging on the window, and the evening on a Friday night. Even light is shining through the window, lets me know everything's alright. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. The pain on the sidewalk, a little music from the house next door. So I walked upon the doorstep, through the screen, across the floor. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Smiles waiting in the kitchen, food cooking in the plates for two. Feel the arms that reach out to hold me in the evening when the day is through. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Speaks. Seals and Croft remembers the Baha'i faith. Jasmine has a particular meaning in the Baha'i faith. Chose that today because I thought it brings back many, many memories. Back when I was a DJ, I used to play this song on the radio. And it's nice to travel back. Memories are wonderful. Jujubee, go.
I would like to make a public apology to our music man. And Jeffrey, I love you, honey, and I'm sorry. Okay, now we get to Robert Reich. An Age of Bullies, adapted from Robert. We are living in an age of bullies. Those with power are less constrained today than they have been in my lifetime since the end of World War II. The question is, how do we lead more moral lives in this era?
How do we lead moral lives in this era? Putin launches a horrendous war on Ukraine. After Hamas atrocity, Netanyahu bombs Gaza to smithereens and is now starving to death its remaining occupants. If you've not seen a recent TV shot of what Gaza looks like, I don't know how those people are even living there. Trump, thousands of hardworking people within America, and puts them into detention camps, splitting their families, spreading fear. His immigration agents target people with brown skin and Mexican-sounding names. Trump usurps the powers of Congress, defies the courts, prosecutes his enemies. He and his Republican lackeys cut Medicaid and food stamps, lifelines for poor people, including millions of children, so that the wealthy can get a tax cut.
Hate mongers on right-wing television and social media fuel bigotry against transgender people, immigrants, Muslims, people of color, and LGBTQ people. Powerful men sexually abuse and harass and rape women. Some of the abused are children. Powerful male politicians make it impossible for women to obtain safe abortions. CEOs rake in record profits and compensation while giving meager wages and firing them for unionizing. Billionaires make large campaign donations, legalize bribes. So lawmakers will cut their taxes and repeal environmental and safety regulations.
Each such abuse of power encourages other abuses. Each undermines the norm of civility. Every time the stronger bully the weaker is bullied, the social fabric is tested. If bullying is not contained, the fabric unwinds. Those who are bullied, who feel powerless, bitter, and desperate, become fodder for strong men demagogues who lead them into violence, war, and tyranny. This is hardly new. Throughout history, the central struggle of civilization has been against brutality by the powerful. Civilization is the opposite of brutality. A civil society doesn't allow the strong to brutally treat the weak. Yet, in my lifetime, I've witnessed a breakdown. I've seen a change occur from support of decency and constraints on to brutality, to tolerance of indecency, and support for unconstrained cruelty.
Trump is not the cause. He's the culmination. So how do we lead moral lives in this age of bullies? We do everything we can to stop the brutality, to hold the powerful accountable, and to protect the vulnerable. Putin and Netanyahu are war criminals whose criminality must be stopped. Trump must be deposed. Right-wing politicians who encourage white Christian nationalism must be condemned and voted out of office. Pundits who amplify racism and xenophobia must lose their megaphones. What can we do? The bottom line is, elections matter. Midterm elections are in 2026. You know what to do. Candidates needed to regain control of our government. Let's get to work. We can't afford to have more harm come to our democracy. We together.
And now, a minute of silence. Reflection Hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
I'd like to share with you a free verse poem by poet Alison Luderman. The title is The Neighbors. So I'll just tell you, it's called The Neighbors. Teresa, a neighbor, climbs our porch steps on arthritic legs, carrying a plate of fresh tamales, are still warm, wrapped in cloth, because they're having a cookout in their yard with all the tias and all the grandbabies, and we're included in the golden circle of familia through no virtue of our own. Yet here she is again at our door with a plate of something delicious or a plastic bag filled with nopal, giant cactus in their yard, which she has skinned and cubed. They're slippery as okra and tart as lemons, and she swears it will cure a long list of ailments, including but not limited to cancer, high blood, diabetes. Standing on our porch, leaning against the railing, she enumerates the benefits while I smile and nod. Sí, gracias. My friend who lives in a rich neighborhood says she's seen ICE patrolling, looking for gardeners and maids escaping over the back fences of Marin. They're tearing apart families like clumps of seedlings, uprooting whole delicate ecosystems. But what they don't understand is the mycelial nature of kinship. How love is a weed that travels across borders in a bird's belly and pops up waving its arms no matter the law. Our block resounds with spangled mariachi tunes all summer long. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't jealous. Some evenings, lying awake while parties go on all around us because this land is their land. And this devotion is tough and wild and joyous. And Teresa can't read the red card that says know your rights in English and Spanish that give her nor understand how I make a living, but she knows what to do with the leaves of the guava tree growing alongside our driveway, whose leaves are medicinal in dozens of ways, whose leaves, like the Bible says, are given for the healing of the nations.
Fair winds and following seas. Go back with me to Sunday, April 20th. Where were you? What went on that day in your life? Remember the faces, the smiles, the laughter, the joy of just living the day? I have no memory of that day. It's erased, gone, never to be in my bank of cherished joys. On that day, my doctors later advised me that I had bottomed out. Bottomed out? Where did I go? What was this bottomed out stuff? Were there bright lights? A tunnel leading somewhere? Nope. None of that. There was pain, excruciating pain, endless pain. That was the day my kidneys failed. So I believe that was the source of the pain. I suspect Phil Park Thomas could elaborate on kidney pain and treatment more than I ever can. The special days of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3.5-hour treatments, dialysis each day. But I'm alive. 99%. That counts. 1% we don't care about. We'll throw that away. I'll take the 99. Sometimes we must await the sunrise to remind ourselves that no matter how dark it gets, there will always be light.
At birth, we boarded the train and met our parents, and we believe they will always travel on our side. However, at some station, our parents will step down from the train, leaving us on this journey alone. As time goes by, other people will, and they will be significant. That is, our siblings, friends, children of your life. Many will step down and leave a permanent vacuum. Others will go so unnoticed that we don't realize they vacated their seats. Now, this train ride will be full of joy, sorrow, fantasy, expectations, hellos, goodbyes, tears, smiles, and farewells. Success consists of having a good relationship with all passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. The mystery to everyone is we do not know at which station we ourselves will step down. So we must live in the best way, love, forgive, all of who we are. It is important to do this because when the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories to travel on the train of life. I wish you a joyful journey on this train of life. Reap success and give lots of love. More importantly, be thankful for the journey. I thank you, all of you, for being one of the passengers on my train. By the way, I'm not planning on getting off the train anytime soon. But if I do, just remember, I'm glad that you were a part of my journey.
From Juju B and Lily Boy, we wish you fair winds and following seas. Almost see it there. Anyway, use fair winds and following seas is used as a wish for good luck and safe travels, particularly for sailors departing on a voyage. It implies favorable wind conditions, fair winds, and waves, turn the page, pushing the vessel in the desired direction, following seas, ensuring a smooth and safe journey. The phrase is often used as a farewell or a toast, conveying hopes for a pleasant and uneventful trip. And so our sermon today, titled Fair Winds and Following Seas. There is a Hebrew idiom that represents the full scope of daily life, encompassing all activities, routines, and movements. It signifies every aspect of one's existence, from the mundane to the extraordinary. It is, I salute you all in your coming in and going out until that morning in which there will be no sunrise and no tomorrow.
The taking of an offering, which some Unitarian Universalist congregations call sharing in stewardship, is a time to lift up the collective responsibility toward the common good. Here is an opportunity to reflect on just what it means to be a self-sustaining and life-giving community. What is the meaning of generosity, of you and your place in the wider community and the lives of your church members? Where does the money go? What does money mean? All of these and more are subjects that you might reflect on in this offering.
At this time for our offering, Terry is sending out the baskets into the sanctuary. All of you, including our YouTube viewers, can also donate electronically by mail. Thank you for being generous in helping to grow our church and for helping Unitarian Universalism to thrive right here in Toledo. Offertory hymn is number 402, From You I Receive. It's the coming soon part of our service where we tell you what's scheduled for next Sunday and we give some announcements. We also let you know what's up for right after the service today. Next Sunday, join us for Spiritual Forum in Fellowship Hall, 9:45, when Cindy Gilmore will lead us in writing postcards for justice. Come prepared to tell our leaders what matters to you. We will implement our UU values and pray through service. Hope to see you there. For the 11 a.m. service next Sunday, Jeffrey Maxey will bring a music-filled program that I'm calling Jeffrey's and Melissa's A Song for Sunday. Lots of joyful music will fill the room and go out into our community. Never a dull moment when these two team up, for sure.
Our church has many activities, some of which might interest you. Please check our website, uutoledo.org, or our UUFYI newsletter, accessible from the website for upcoming events. This coming Saturday, August 16th, First Unitarian will be marching in the Toledo Pride Parade. Any First UU members or friends who prefer to ride, contact Lauren and Thatcher. I think they're in the back there. They've offered to drive their SUV with trailers so you don't have to walk. And please assemble, dear Adams, the 20th around 11 a.m. Watch for reminders and more details in the UUFYI and on Facebook. The contact is David Strickler. The coming soon entry is for me to again invite all of you to Fellowship Hall after today's service for coffee, conversation, social time. And for those of you at home, those of you guys at home, well, we want to invite you to come, yes. Today, ice cream and cake for Ellie's birthday. Let's all sing her happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear Ellie. Happy birthday to you. Hey, Ellie.
Ellie, can we say what your age is? Huh? 87. It's a wonderful day today, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Yes. And we look to see people who are watching right now on, you know who you are. You're watching either during the service itself or you're watching later. Come next Sunday and experience this community. Hope to see ya.
Let's have one more observation of spiritual practice. Now, recognizing the Buddhist thread in our congregation, we will share a time of having and sending to all beings love, kindness, and compassion.
Pagans among us who will follow the metta with the Wiccan reed. Let's recite these together. May I, may we, may all beings be well, be happy, be peaceful, be safe, awaken to the light of our true nature, and be free. And ye harm none, do what ye will. Before we sing number 1064, Blue Boat Home, in the Teal Hymnal, consider this thought from Christopher Hitchens. Anybody in here know what he's really saying? What's the right word? He does not believe in, yes. Is that, no, the minister, he is atheist. But I love this because it's, I don't know, it will happen to all of us that at some point you'll get tapped on the shoulder and told, not that just the party is over, but slightly worse. The party is going on, but guess what? You will have to leave. And it is going on without you. And now this from my friend, Episcopal Bishop John Shelby Spong.
Quote, God is not a Christian. God is not a Jew, or a Muslim, or a Hindu, or a Buddhist. All of these are human systems which human beings have created to try to help us walk into the mystery of God. I walk through my tradition, but I don't think my tradition defines God. I think it only points me to God. Unquote.
In my life and in the lives of others. Guide me so despair finds no permanent home within my soul and within the soul of others. Now please join us in saying the words on the screen while Terry extinguishes the chalice. In unison, we say, we send the flame from our Unitarian Universalist chalice,
The love in which we send everything, to fire up the world and spread equity, generosity, interdependence,
justice, pluralism, and transformation.
Go in peace, holding, knowing, and centering love in your lives, and sharing love in your actions. Merry meet, merry part, and blessed be. We wish you fair winds and following seas always. Postlude 1064, Blue Boat Home. Winds, following seas.